Let me get started as soon as we're able to go live. There we All right. Good evening, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us tonight. My name is Ravina Nimbalkar, and I'm the Executive Director at NAMI Santa Clara County. Before we begin with the presentation tonight, I'm just going to go over some of the updates at NAMI Santa Clara County. Our helpline is up and running from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday on phone as well as email, and also walk-in hours are 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. We also have after-hour family support, which is available on evening and weekends. Support groups are all listed on our website and offered in person as well as on Zoom. So you can take a look at that. It's on our website, namisantaclara.org. For education classes such as family to family, familia to familia, peer-to-peer, persona to persona, provider education, you can contact a helpline number, which is 408-453-0400, and select option 1 for further details and put your name in the interest list. NAMI Basics program is on demand and on our website, so you can take that on at your own pace. And so is the NAMI Homefront, which is again on demand, and you can take it at your own pace. We had a very successful FaithNet luncheon last month, and but our next FaithNet MH101, it's going to be virtual. It's going to be in August, on August 20th. So if you are interested, in a registration for the FaithNet MH101, you can go to our website and contact the FaithNet team or even call a helpline. A community peer program continues to match by hospitals as well as self-referral programs. For those who don't know about community peer program, we match individuals with a mentor for a period of 4 months. This can be done at the discharge of the hospital or self-referral, and we do have a form for that. So please take a look at the program, and the details and the form is online on our website too. I hope that you all came to our annual picnic this past Saturday. It was a really fun event, and we had a really good attendance, and hope you enjoyed the food and the games and meeting everyone. We have more events coming this year. Sorry, I'm having a lot of allergies, so you can hear me. So I apologize for that. We have a lot of events coming up the rest of the year. Our NAMI Walks kickoff is going to be on July 31st. It's a Friday at our office, and we'll be sharing more details very soon about it. We're also organizing an event, a fundraising event this year. It's a hiking fundraising. It's basically kind of like in between a kickoff and a walk, just to get people excited about it. So this is going to be on August 21st. And again, we'll be sharing more details about it. It's separate from the walk, but it's going to be a fundraising event, and there's going to be a registration fee, which is very minimal. But we're doing that. And finally, followed by our annual NAMI Walk Silicon Valley, which is going to be on October 3rd. Our NAMI Walks Silicon Valley's website is already up and running, which is namiwalks.org/Silicon Valley. And you can start raising funds, register, sign up on the team. You can just start doing that. And we are not too far away. We're already in June, so we're not too far away from the walk. And I say that every year. Okay, so for our June general meeting, our speakers are from Proxy Parent Foundation, which is a nonprofit founded by NAMI California members dedicated to assisting people with disabilities by safeguarding their access to public benefit programs through California Special Needs Trust. They also provide personal support services for beneficiaries with mental health conditions, including assistance with housing, medical care, budgeting, and relationships. Learn about their services and how they work with families and individuals living with mental health conditions. So our speaker tonight, we have two speakers. We have Carol Larkin, She's the director of client relations at Proxy Parent Foundation, where she has spent the past 4 years supporting individuals and families through trust education, trust enrollment, and client-centered services. And then we have the executive director, Carmen Bowen, is a dedicated nonprofit executive and lifelong advocate for individuals with developmental disabilities and underserved communities. At Proxy Parent Foundation, she oversees the trust administration, fiduciary services, fundraising, and organizational operation, ensuring dignity, protection, and long-term stability for individuals and families. So I'm going to hand over to both Carmen and Carol. I just want to mention that we are live streaming today's presentation on YouTube. You can always look for NAMI Santa Clara County on YouTube channel and look for all our general meeting presentations from the past as well as we do have some viewers who join us online on YouTube as well. And then in terms of the questions, please post your questions in either the chat section. I think the chat session is available to all of you, and there'll be the Q&A section as well. And we're going to address all the questions at the end of the presentation. So I'm going to hand it over to you, Carmen and Carol, and I will take off and I'll be in the background. Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you. Before we get started, Carol is going to take you through the journey with Proxy Parent Foundation. I thank you all so much for having us today. And as she mentioned, we will be more than happy to answer all of your questions at the end of the presentation. So Carol, take it away.
Yes, thank you so much for spending your evening with us today. As we were introduced, my name is Carol Larkin. Carmen Bowen is on the call, and we're with Proxy Parent Foundation. And so we'll jump right into it. Oh, sorry, give me 1 second. There we go. Proxy Parent Foundation is a nonprofit organization dedicated to assisting people with disabilities by safeguarding their access to public benefit programs through the creation and administration of a plan of California Special Needs Trust and by providing family-like personal support services. We were founded in 1990 by parents who had children with severe mental illness, and what they really envisioned was this kind of wraparound approach to trust administration. Someone who can manage the financial side of things, but someone who can also be there for the social services side of things. So what is a special needs trust? It's an estate planning tool that allows its beneficiary to shelter assets and protect qualification for certain government benefits. There are two routes that you could take. A person can have a standalone special needs trust or join a master pool trust like Proxy Parent Foundation. And establishing a special needs trust is important because it ensures that any inheritance or financial gift does not disqualify your relative from public benefits like SSI or Medi-Cal. And as we're really seeing even in the past couple years through legislation is, 1 year they're increasing the asset limit and it feels wonderful, but the next year they're fighting to lower it again. So even those kind of limitations fluctuate. So that's why an S&T is always the most foolproof way to safeguard benefits. So a special needs trust can be used in a myriad of ways. Really, the philosophy behind it is to supplement rather than supplant government benefits. We want the person to be able to enjoy from to have both funding sources continuously. And it can be used to pay for extra medical, education, recreation, and social services not covered by public benefits. Some examples include, buying a new computer, paying an internet bill, if someone needs an AAC device, cell phone, personal need items. Really, as long as it's for the sole benefit of the beneficiary, it can be used for them. And a special needs trust can be used to supplement food and shelter in specific instances. I know this area gets a little complicated, but it's not that sometimes there's a common misconception that an SNT cannot be used for these two things. And it's not that it can't be used for those two things. It's just that sometimes there are benefit offices that have certain rules and regulations that we still have to try to observe. So, for example, SSI and housing. If you use an SNT to pay for housing and you're an SSI recipient, you're supposed to report it and your benefit is reduced. But if you're not on SSI, then you could pretty much kind of use it freely. So there are two types of special needs trusts. There's a first party and a third party, and really the difference lies in who is funding the account. So a first party trust is funded with a disabled person's own assets, such as a personal injury award, settlement, or inheritance. It may or may not require court petition by a parent, grandparent, or legal guardian. And one of the key distinctions here between first party and third party is that in a first party trust, when the beneficiary dies, any remaining funds are subject to rules that require the trust to repay the state for any Medi-Cal benefits previously received. So this is where this planning aspect is really important because this Medi-Cal lien does not exist in third party trust, and you'll have a little bit more control over who is able to receive the funds after the beneficiary passes away. With a third party trust, as I mentioned, someone other than the beneficiary is providing the asset, such as a family member or other concerned party. In this instance, when the beneficiary passes, there's no Medi-Cal payback, and the grantor designates who receives the remaining funds after a 25% retention by Plan of California as a nonprofit trustee. So the Plan of California Master Pool Trust accepts both first and third party trusts. We provide the trustee, so the organization is the one that's managing everything. Whereas conversely, if you were to set up a standalone trust with an attorney, you would have to find either one person or several people who are going to step into the various roles of management. In our pool trust, the funds are pooled together for investment purposes and lower management fees, but a separate account is maintained for each individual beneficiary. So no money is commingled between beneficiary A and beneficiary B. And any gains that are made on an individual account remain in that individual account as well. And while we are doing not most, all of the trust administration, if there is family in the area that wants to be involved, we welcome family involvement in all matters. As long as they are named ahead of time, we're happy to share accounting, any reporting, case consultation with them. After all, they are family and they're kind of our ears and eyes on the ground as well. The Plan of California Master Pool Trust is open to all disability types, all ages, and we operate in all of the state of California. So the heart and soul of our organization, which is really our personal support services, is a service that we offer where we hire and supervise personal support specialists that work directly with our beneficiaries in their local communities. Some service examples include finding and maintaining housing, which is a huge concern always, applying for and maintaining public benefits, obtaining and maintaining medical and dental care, developing and maintaining friendships, recreation, and quality of life, and support with life skills such as budgeting. Our personal support specialists or proxy parents step into the shoes of a loving family member and act as a caring advocate and friend. We're really fortunate in the way that we do our hiring process. These are really meant to be lifelong relationships. I know we've had several PSS that have outlived their beneficiaries, and in speaking to them, they've stated that it's like losing a family member. And even in the 4.5 years that I've been with the company, I've not really seen any turnover. So we're very intentional, given that it's not a 40-hour a week, full-time type position. It's kind of a matching process. And so we've been very fortunate with that and the services that we provide our beneficiaries. So why Proxy Parent Foundation? It's a private solution to a public dilemma. It provides services more efficiently and cost effectively than can be provided independently. It marries the expertise of the business world with the compassion of the nonprofit world. Our board of directors is a wonderful mix of people who come from the social sciences world, from the finance world, as we have a psychologist. So it's a very good blend of people that really care, and also people that have relatives that have severe mental illness and other disabilities. And it's really a model of what dedicated community members and disability advocates can accomplish. Our personal support services will give you the peace of mind and help you answer the question, who will care when I am not there? So further, in addition to what other pool trusts in the state can provide, there are a handful of other options. We offer enrollment without court approval. You would join simply by signing a joinder agreement. This is a big one. We do not have an asset minimum to join. I know there are some pool trust company that might have a threshold, and it's unfortunate if the family cannot meet it, but we are an option for those families as well. We have a really great back office, as we call it. We have three partners that we work with. So our investment management is done by a company called Lindbrook Capital. They're based in Los Angeles. The custodian of our funds is Fidelity Investments, big name there. And our trust agent is ML Management, also based in Los Angeles. And what this really means is that I think it really creates a safety net when you join our organization, because no one entity can do something to an account without having these three other entities also having eyes on it and approving it. And in a world where sometimes unfortunate things may happen, I think that's a pretty good safety net there. And of course, our personal support services. So we are the only pool trust in the state that offers this more hands-on approach. We also offer what we call our pay-as-you-go program. So for families that have signed up with us and have set up a trust, it does not have to be funded. If they need support in the here and now, we can start that personal support service to help out in whatever capacity we can. So it's an option for families who are seeking extra support and care, or families that are seeking to transition their disabled loved one to a new housing arrangement outside of the house. I'll give a couple examples of how I've seen this used recently. So we actually had a family that just enrolled, and their loved one was not on any benefits. So they're actually using pay as you go to get someone to help their son sign up for all the benefits, and then they'll probably pause for a while. And then if they ever need us in the long run, they'll call again. I've also gotten calls from a family who loved one has gone MIA, something has happened. Maybe there's been a substance relapse and they need someone to help them find that person. Sometimes starting from ground zero, if we need to, go get an ID and then start reapplying for benefits and all of that jazz. So those are just a couple of examples of how I've seen that used recently. And so our pay-as-you-go program essentially makes it possible for a beneficiary to establish a strong rapport with the personal support specialist while the grantor is still alive. So in considering all your options for, whatever route you want to take in setting up a special needs trust, these are just some questions that we've come up with that I think are useful for families to consider. So if you set up a trust, who is going to be the trustee? So with Proxy Parent Foundation, we are the trustee when you create a trust in the Plan of California Master Pool Trust. But if you set up a standalone trust, some options include a family member, friend, a private fiduciary, or you could go to a financial institution like a bank. Will that trustee know how to invest and manage the funds? If the trustee is a family member, will it cause problems? I think we all know that money makes things weird. Uh, and sometimes it's nice to kind of delineate those roles. What oversight will the trustee have? Does the trustee know how to serve the needs of the beneficiary? Will the trustee be able to keep up with changing government benefit regulations? And will the trustee understand the tax requirements? So it is really a big undertaking. And I say that as the person that fields all of the calls that come into the organization, I would say about 1 out of 3 calls is a sibling, cousin, aunt, uncle who are managing trusts currently for a loved one, and they want to basically absolve themselves. They're like, this is too much. But the problem is that once an SNT is funded, it is irrevocable. And that's why this decision and this pre-planning is so important, whichever route you take. And with that, I will just leave our contact sheet up for a couple minutes, but we can get into questions.
Don't see any right now in the chat. Let me look at the
I actually
Q&A.
had received an email with a question, and I'm happy to read it out. Let me
Okay.
see if somebody's also. Oh, I think somebody's. Philip, I was gonna read out your question, so I'll let you speak.
No, go ahead. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, Philip, I'll let you speak, so you might have to just unmute yourself.
I have a question. Can you hear me?
Yes.
We can hear you.
Yes.
Yeah, if you already have a fiduciary handling the trust, but that fiduciary would like to get rid of your trust, how would you go about it?
So, thankfully, you're still here with us. I think what I would suggest in this scenario is just to ensure that if that is a possibility or you want to give the current trustee an out, you have to really, I mean, you'd have to work with an attorney for the specific language, but you have to delineate incredibly specific language that's going to grant that power to the current trustee to be able to transfer the funds from the standalone trust that they're managing to the pool trust that they want to transfer it to. If those expressed permissions are not there, then the trustee, if they really want to do it, will essentially have to petition the court to give them approval, permission to do that. And of course, that's going to cost money. That's going to have legal fees. And I'm sure they're going to charge it from the trust. So it's kind of a cost benefit analysis there.
They've already said that they would petition the court to remove themselves from as trustee, but they want the remaining money in the trust to pay for
Right. Yeah,
it.
so that's what happens. If you want to dissolve the trust, that's going to take legal fees and those are going to get paid out of the trust. So if there's not that much funds left in the account or it's just a big hit to the trust, it's the beneficiary that's losing out on that chunk of change.
Well, I don't understand when you say, uh, if you said something, if you wanted to, why would you dissolve the trust rather than just transfer it?
Because a special needs trust, once it's funded, is irrevocable. That's what keeps it, that's what makes it protected from counting against the beneficiary. And that's just the rules of it. You can't just say, oh, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm going to give it up to a company. You can't do that. That's just not the way that it works,
I,
legally.
well, it was done. I was a trustee. I didn't get along with the person that the trust was for, and Co-America took it over without any compunction.
Was it a special needs trust?
Yes, special needs trust, written by an attorney.
Yeah,
Co-America
so
just picked it up.
perhaps the original trust had language that already expressed those permissions. So that's what I'm saying. If you have that thought in your mind that it could be a possibility that you could write up your family trust in a way that expresses those if then type of conditions, and that would at least give the permission ahead of time. But
Oh.
in a trust where those permissions are not expressed, and it was only, the only option was Bob was managing Tom, but Bob doesn't want to do it anymore, and he doesn't have the express permission to absolve himself, he's going to have to petition the court for that permission.
Well, it must have been written that way since I was the trustee and we turned it over to Co-America. They didn't, as far as I know, they didn't go to court. They just took it over. Co-America's a
You,
bank with the
yeah.
trust department.
Yeah. Philip, most likely, and unless we were able to see it, it's kind of hard and everything is hypothetical. I would suggest you contact the attorney that drew it up or the firm and make sure because, as Carol was explaining, special needs trusts are usually very specific. And if you wanted, and if the person wants to relieve themselves of the duty, it has to go through the court. And then the court will tell you if you can pay for the court fees out of the trust. I mean, they're very specific. And as Carol mentioned, it can be very costly and can deplete a good portion of the trust just trying to take someone off. Now, I just want to make sure, did you say the trust was funded already or is it just set up?
Okay. The trust is set up and it is funded.
Oh, okay.
And when I turned it over to Co-America, there was no legal fees. There were no lawyers. They just took it.
Yeah, you probably need to talk to them or whoever set it up because right now,
It was set up by a well-known legal company
Okay.
that's in the Bay Area.
Right. So I would suggest you go to them and go over it to see what your options are since they set it up, because they might have some caveats in there that allow you to do it. But I would do that first. And then going forward, the reason why it's good to have a master pool trust like us, we will be the trustee. And so you don't have to move it around. But then family members can just be family. And then you just work with your family member, like you would still do any medical directives and things like that. But as far as the trust itself, we would be the trustee and manage the funds and do the investment and things like that.
So you would be the Co-America, the version of Co-America we have today.
Yes, we would do everything for you.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, but if you be sure to ask them. And if you have any other questions or you find something out, Carol had her stuff up, or the contact, and we can also put it in the chat so that you can contact us, once you have a little bit more information, okay?
Okay.
And we would love to help you.
Great.
All right. Looks like we have another question. Since I have a special needs trust, my dad says the trustee, my brother, can change the trust rules and do whatever he wants. That is not true. And it's not a special needs trust if that is it. The law is very specific. And this sounds like the same situation as we were just answering with Philip. So that is not it. If I were you, I would get the trust joinder or the contract and review it, but you can't just do whatever you want. There are lots of rules and we have to adhere to those.
Yeah. So if you're stating that, you have a special needs trust right now, but you're not getting along with your trustee, which is your brother in this instance, I would, take a look at the document that the attorney drew up, and see what the stipulations are. And if your brother is not meeting them, then, you could consult, with an attorney and see what could happen. But he's not supposed to just do what he wants to do, which highlights a potential problem of having S&Ts managed by family.
Right. I was just going to say that, Carol, we're thinking the same thing, which is why a lot of family members, they choose to have someone like a master pool trust do it, because you have to keep up with so many rules and regulations and changes in the industry. And if you mismanage it in any way, that can put the family member who's appointed as the trustee in a world of hurt if they're not doing it the way it was intended. So it has a lot of risk to it if you're not
Or
to
if
see.
they distribute money incorrectly, then that could put your benefits at risk as well.
And someone said, what does it mean uh, when the trust is funded?
So you can open up a special needs trust, basically the framework and the account of it, but you don't have to fund it yet. Generally speaking, special needs trusts are funded after the grantor, the person who is putting money in it, passes away. So, I could set up a special needs trust for my son with special needs today, but knock on wood, I'm not planning on dying for 65 years minimum. So in that time, it's not funded, but it exists on the off chance that I have an accident, and then my trust will trigger all of the mechanisms that are needed for, wherever all my things are going.
Right. And I think also, Carol, we can share that funding, that you don't have to die to fund. Some people might have enough money to do a partial funding, not what they originally wanted to do when they're gone, but maybe they have a couple 100,000, or it could be any amount, frankly, that they wanted to fund. They can do that, especially like we had someone recently that Carol's enrolled. They wanted to start using our personal support services, and so they went ahead and did a partial funding with funds that they had available to use. And so that's kind of what you can do. You can either fund it, when you pass away, or if you have the funds in advance, especially if you wanted to get some of those services started. Okay, let's see, Carol. I'm trying to. Okay, she says, okay, this is Manisha again. Okay, when the trust is funded, meaning please, then it is irrevocable. Yes. Once it is
So
funded, yes.
it means that once the money goes into the account, you can no long you just don't have any flexibility to make a different decision. So sometimes families will call us and they've already created a standalone trust, but they just found out about us and they want to go with us. Well, if the trust that they already previously created does not have any money in it, it really doesn't have any power. It's just a piece of paper. So they can just choose to not fund that trust, and they would create a trust with us and just fund our trust. So, but if the trust over there was funded, that's when you have to get the courts involved to be able to move around money. So essentially just means that once it's funded, it's irrevocable. You cannot make any more changes to it without court approval, unless it's the grantor had extreme foresight and really set up a handful of if-then scenarios in their estate planning.
I don't see. Let me look at the Q&A, just make sure. Okay, nothing in Q&A. Any other questions?
Yeah, if anyone has any questions, feel free to raise your hands. And I can enable okay, I think we do have somebody too who wants to speak.
When? Can she unmute?
Yeah, I'm gonna ask to unmute.
I don't think that we can unmute people.
Yeah, I can
Okay.
ask to, but
Okay.
yeah, there.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Well, I set up my trust in 1997, and then my boys became ill in 2009. And so how my trust is set up, I have 6 grandchildren, and they were going to be dividing the money up, but I had to put my son in a special needs trust. So I don't know, do I need to get a conservator for him? Because yeah, he still has some mental health issues. I got it in 1997, and I had no idea what it meant. Okay.
Yeah.
And I have it, and one son passed away. And so that money is based upon them selling the house, and then the money is divided equally. But
Okay.
I don't have any siblings, or my sister has passed, my brother has dementia, and my grandson is not able to help my son. So I need somebody, and that's what you would be doing?
Yes.
Yeah.
It,
But
yeah, and it sounds like you
oh,
set up the trust, but it hasn't been funded. So
that's
that's what
because the
Carol,
house, okay, because the
yes,
house hasn't been sold.
Mhm.
right.
Okay,
So
so
what
that's not funded. Okay.
Right. So remember what Carol said earlier. She was saying that if it's not funded, and if you choose to do like a master pool trust like us, and we handle all of that for you, then you can just set up, you can contact Carol and she can set it up for you. And all you do in your personal trust is do what we call bridging language. And you would just change it because it sounds like you need to change it anyway, because some people have passed and things like that. And you go in and make those amendments to your trust to say, when my house is sold, this needs to go to the special needs trust for your son. And you see what I mean? You would put that language in that in your trust. Some people, if you don't have any other family members, but you wanted to give it even to donate it to charity, you can put that in there as well. But we do manage everything. So you wouldn't need to have one of your family members be a trustee. They could still be a person to help your son out to make any medical decisions. We don't do that. But everything else that to, take care of their bills, the care, to pay bills like that, or um, any necessities or
Yeah.
taxes, whatever, we do all of that. So it's just something you just have to look at your current
Wow.
trust and make the changes so that, it sounds like you do need to do that. So since so much has changed since you originally drew it up.
Right.
Yeah,
Oh,
Gwen. So
I am just,
because your SNT is not funded, you have a little bit of flexibility still. So you can make any change that you want. But yes, if you wanted to, like Carmen was saying, if you wanted to join our pool trust so that we can handle the administration of that, then we would set you up with a sub account for your son, and you would just update your personal trust to reflect those changes so that it no longer reads, I'm funding Trust A, you're going to be funding Proxy Parent Trust instead. And then,
that his portion of because it's 6 of them, his portion of the money would go to you.
To the trust.
correct, to
Yes.
his trust account.
Wow.
And even within our joinder agreement, since you're mentioning the grandchildren, we do have a portion for remainder beneficiaries. So if your son were to unexpectedly pass away and not use all of the funds in the trust, we would then distribute them to whomever is named in the joinder agreement, after that 25% that I mentioned in the slides previously. But
Wow.
at least it can go back to other family members as well.
Right. I had no idea. Okay, what was on the screen, is there any way for me to get a copy of some of this information? Because it's a little overwhelming,
Yes.
trying to gather all of this information. Yeah.
Sure. Well, it's being
100%.
yeah. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
being recorded, but also I think Bravo will send it to you as well. I think you're going to send out our contact to all of the people on the
Okay.
yeah.
and I'll
Okay.
share the slides in a PDF format that she can share out with the people who
Oh,
signed up with the
please.
webinar as well.
Yes. I
Yeah,
I
it's a
had no
lot.
idea at that time of what that really meant. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. But at
Okay.
least you have time and you can make the changes you need. It's always good to always revisit that, especially when such big changes happen.
Right.
And,
And
and then
would he
also
be, and someone would be in touch with him, someone would be working with him. That's what I was wanting, to
yeah,
have someone, and that would be your group. But you
right.
said they were in Los Angeles. How?
No, we service all of California. So wherever you are, we find someone in your area.
Okay. Yeah. That's what I was,
Yeah.
gosh.
We just happen to be in Southern California. Carol and I
Yes.
physically, but we service all of California and we have clients all up and down the state.
Okay. And offices here in San Jose?
No, we don't have a physical office.
Okay.
We're 100% remote. Since the pandemic, we no longer have. We had an office in here in Southern California, but it's not needed because most of us are everywhere. So
Okay.
we don't have a physical office.
Okay. All right. So I would be
But we
able
can
to get
work
some
with you. Yeah.
information. Yeah.
But we can help
Okay.
you.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right then. Okay, the paperwork will be available.
Oh yes. We
Yeah.
do it every day. We can make sure you get it. We talk you
Mhm.
through it.
Mhm.
we also do a remote signing that we call it DocuSign, and that helps out a lot of people that don't, have the means in which to go physically, the notaries and all of that, or notaries come to your house too. So there's lots of ways to do it. So we can go over all of that to make it easy for you.
Wow. But NAMI will be getting some paperwork to us so I can kind of review that, because it's kind of overwhelming. A lot of information that I had no idea that was
Sure.
that involved. Okay, thank you.
No, thank you for asking. Good question. Good question.
All right.
Okay, I see something there. It says, how much do your services cost?
Do you want to answer it, Carmen,
No,
or
you
you
can answer. You can.
So we have an enrollment fee, and then which is the upfront cost. That would be $1,000 if you opt into personal support services, 1,800 if you opt out of it. That fee is basically what is going to have us set up the trust for you. Just to kind of put it in industry perspective, I think the average for an attorney to set up a special needs trust is around the ballpark of 5,000. So we're a little bit cheaper than that. Beyond that, once the trust is set up, in the interim that it does not have any money inside of it, there are no fees. So whether it's 1 year, 5 year, 5 years, 30 years, nothing in between. Then the minute it is funded, we do have annual fees that will kick into place. And those will range from 2.25% to 2.75%, depending on the trust balance. It is charged quarterly, which is nice. So, take the figure and divide it by 4. So, end of quarter one, we take that balance, apply a quarter of the fees, and then the person spends down a little bit more. End of the second quarter, we apply a quarter of the fees. So, kind of as the trust spends down, those fees kind of go down along with it. And then there's a $285 annual tax preparation fee as well for the trust because it is invested. The returns average about 4% a year. So it pretty much kind of covers the fees currently and then still adds a little bit of growth to the account. The investment strategy is very conservative. We are a pool trust. We're not making risky moves with your money. Also, it is court supervised. So all of our investments, our accounts are court supervised. So I think our investment manager once told me that we're not legally allowed to lose money. So if the economy is really, really bad, we might not make money, but we cannot lose your money. While the investment strategy it is conservative, it is stable. And the personal support specialist, so if you do opt into that, that is $85 an hour, plus they charge mileage and travel time. And then there's a 15% administration fee on the hours provided. So this has nothing to do with balance. And if it's a little easier to conceptualize it, think of it as $97.50 an hour. That would include their hourly rate and that 15% fee. And we will send out all of the informational paperwork so that you can see it, because I know kind of hearing numbers can sometimes hard to digest. But just 2.25 to 2.75 once it's funded.
Ms. Gwen, you have another question? You have to unmute. It still didn't unmute. I don't know.
I'm sorry.
There you are.
Yes. Okay. Medi-Cal has already said that money has to be paid back if, my son has been on it most of his life. Okay. How does that work with the trust? What we have to pay them back?
So I'll take that one if you don't mind, Carol. So if you set up the trust and it's a third-party trust, then you don't have to pay the state back.
Third-party trust.
So if you set it up for your son, it's a third-party trust.
Okay,
The
third-party
only
trust.
trust, yeah, only trust that has to be paid back to the state is a first-party trust. That means someone, the beneficiary themselves, like say somebody sent your son a check, maybe he had a settlement, it came straight to him. So it's so that he won't lose his benefits, you had to set up a first-party trust to safeguard his benefits. So then the only thing about that first party trust, you can use it, but if there's any money left, the state will send you a bill. And usually when I'm doing, that's only if you pass away. So if he passes away, and I'm the person here that does that, so I have to notify the Department of Healthcare Services that the beneficiary has passed. Then they send me the itemized bill. Now, it doesn't mean you have to pay all of that, because if you don't have that much money left in the trust, you just give them what you have left.
Mm,
So,
third-party
yeah,
trust.
but that doesn't apply to you if you're setting it up for him. It does not apply.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's why this the pre-planning of it is so important. 'Cause I don't know about you guys, but I would rather at least have some say on who receives the money after my beneficiary passes, as opposed to them setting it up and then having to just pay the state back. So that's the
Right,
drawback to the person receiving the money directly instead of it being prearranged into a special need
right.
trust.
Yeah,
Right.
third-party trust.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. So that means
Okay.
you are the third party. You're setting it up for your son.
Right. Okay.
Okay. So
All
no, it
right.
doesn't apply at all.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank
And
you.
that's what she's saying. That's the best thing to do it in advance, because if not, sometimes it's not much left anyway. So what can they do? But if you have a significant amount, then you would have rather said if that person passes away, then the remaining balance goes to this person. Even if you wanted to go to a charity, at least you could have designated that instead of the state. But so that gives you leverage versus just having to give it back for a benefit that if you had done it in advance, you wouldn't have to give it back. So pre-planning is a big deal.
This
And
is
I
very
see,
eye-opening, this
yes,
conversation here. Wow.
Oh, I'm
No
glad.
idea. Yes.
yes.
Thank you.
So we have a question in the Q&A. It's basically, if the trustee does not handle the trust properly, what are the options the recipient has against the trustee? This would apply, I think, in both scenarios, if you were with a pooled trust or if you had a standalone trust. But if you truly felt like your trustee was not managing your funds properly, I think you would have to just seek your legal recourse, speak to a lawyer about it, and see what they suggest.
And
And
keep
then,
in mind, since we are a nonprofit, we have lots of checks and balances. So it's not one, like, for example, I'm one of the trustees. Well, we have, as Carol had a slide up earlier, we have several different people that manage different parts of it. So no one person has complete autonomy over anything. So it would, but if you felt that it's not, and keep in mind, we can only use the monies for benefit of the beneficiary. We've had family members get upset because we won't pay things for them. Well, then they would probably be upset because the rule says it can only benefit the beneficiary. We cannot pay phone bills for your family members and pay their rent and all of that. So those are the only people that have really been upset because we can't use that trust money for their benefit. We are
yeah.
very strict about that, and we have other government entities that can audit us at any time.
And I mean, I know for us specifically, our beneficiaries, if they want accounting, they want to receive their monthly fidelity statements, just to keep a track of how their money is being spent. They have access to all of that. If you have a standalone trust and your trustee is not giving you access to that, I would, ask questions, and try to seek someone to support you in that endeavor, because they should be sharing that information with you. As the beneficiary, you have the right to know how much money is in your account, how it's being spent, what are the dividends you're making, things like that. So I would be very wary if someone was full on saying, no, I will not provide that information. That would probably raise some red flags.
Right. And we have that automatic, for those who want it, we have it automatically sent to the whichever family member is entitled to see it.
Mhm.
Yeah. And I think I just answered the questions, Manisha and Jeanette, but I will clarify. Um, if you guys set up a third party trust, if you're setting it up for a loved one, you don't have to pay Medi-Cal back. So if you're setting this up in advance, you do not have to pay them back.
The
But if
Medi-Cal
you,
lien, yeah, the Medi-Cal lien only applies to first party trust, the
yes,
assets in the first party trust. We cannot speak to any other assets that exist outside of the special needs trust. We would welcome you to speak to a tax professional, but the assets inside of the first party trust will have that Medi-Cal lien. The assets in the third party trust will not have a Medi-Cal lien.
which is again why you set it up in advance so you don't have, oh, I see what you're saying. You have a first party trust for yourself. Well, only way you have to pay them back, Manisha, is if there's money left. I mean, you have to pay it back. But if there's not any money left in your trust, as I said, I do that for us. So when I'm closing out first party trust, when they send me the bill, if there's only $1,000 left in that person's trust, that's what I send them. But your bill to Medi-Cal can be $1 million, and I've had that. But if the person only had $1,000 left, we're only going to put $1,000 on that million. That's all they're getting back. Only what you have. They cannot do anything else. They're only entitled to what's left in the trust. Does that answer it though, Manisha?
And to Jeanette's question, does this apply to all Medi-Cal services? I would imagine so. I would
Yes.
imagine they are keeping a tally of what they're giving out.
Yeah. When I get that bill, sometimes it's one page or pages, and it'll have hospital stays. They don't do regular doctor visits. I do know that. Just, a wellness, but anything beyond that, a regular wellness bill, it's on there.
Manisha, no, the Medi-Cal lien is that's a federal law. We cannot get around that, whether in a standalone first party trust or a pooled trust for first party trust. That's just the way that the law is written.
Yeah. The bet to do it is, while you can, use your disbursements and request the money you need to pay the bills you need. It's not anything wrong to use up all the money. There's no penalty for you using up the money. But if you want to, savor it while you're alive, then, you want to be frugal with it. But, like if someone was like 75 and they had a lot of money, I'm like, well, you might want to get to spending it because we don't know when that big day is. But if you have a lot of time, then, just, pace yourself, but use your money and don't just let it sit there, because at the end of the day, if you haven't used it, then it all will go to Medi-Cal. So use it as you need it. Yeah.
And what I'll add to that is, it probably sounds like you have a standalone trust. I don't know if when you drafted it up, if you put in a provision for remainder beneficiaries. So let's say you pass away and there's $1 million in your trust, but the Medi-Cal bill is only $500,000. If your trust documents then further designate who receives any remaining money, that's a place where that might happen, might go to your nephews. If you don't already have that built into your trust, you might have to go speak to an attorney to amend that, just in
Yes.
case, on the off chance that that happens. But 99% of the time, those Medi-Cal bills do wipe out the trust.
Right.
I don't think I've seen one that doesn't
Yeah.
wipe it out. Of course, also, The opposite is true. If you're a first party trust beneficiary, but you've never used Medi-Cal, then there is no Medi-Cal lien. So they get to designate where the remainder funds go.
Absolutely. And I have had someone, Carol, just recently who I thought because of their illness that they would have had a huge bill. It was only $18,000. Luckily, they did name other people. So whenever I send that, I'll, finish up everything. Then I'll send the state the 18,000 and the money left. They did designate 3 family members and they're still alive. And so they'll get some money once everything is done. So it is what Carol was just saying. It's a great idea. If you haven't named your nephew in it, go see if there's a way to amend that to add them to it. I'm sure it is. You can add it. And that way, if you don't owe Medi-Cal, then at least someone that you care about will benefit from those funds. Do you have to be currently on Medi-Cal or previously on Medi-Cal?
I'm sure it's just all tied to your social security number.
Security number, yeah. Yeah. No, it does. Oh, there you go, Carol. That was you. This is not flattered. Duh, didn't read the person's name. Any other questions? Well, as we stated, NAMI will be sending you information. You're welcome to contact us. We're happy to answer any of your questions because this is something that's very important, especially to the people you care about, and you want to make sure that they are taken care of when you're not able to. So we're more than happy to help you. So, and Carol also, she'll provide NAMI with her calendar scheduler. So those of you that would know that you want to meet with her and you can set up a certain time, you can get on her calendar and she'll have a specific meeting with you.
I think there's one more question that just came up before we just wrap up. Jeanette just posted a question right now.
When receiving
there
full
they-
service partnership services through the county, I don't
know.
about
I'm not
that,
sure.
sorry.
Yeah, you might have to ask the county that. It's hard to tell what the state, because, part of, the bill technically comes from the state. So county is part of the state. So you don't know it could or it couldn't, but you want to ask them specifically. Carol just put her link in there for you to book time with her. So
Actually,
certainly
the link went on the only
chat.
The only panelists and hosts. So I just put it on to everyone.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Yeah. So you should have the calendar link now.
I'm so
You can
sorry.
click on that. No,
Oh,
that's
that's-
fine. It happens to me all the time. Okay. Here's the link. And then if there are no other questions, I don't see anyone else raising their hands of the questions. I really want to thank both of you, Carmen, Carol. This was such a great and informative presentation, and thank you for taking all this time to answer all the questions, because I think that's the key, having to be able to answer all the questions, because everyone's case and situation is so unique and so different. So thank you for doing that. Really appreciate it. And thank you again for everyone who joined us. This session is also going to be available on YouTube. It's live streaming, so do check it out. And if you need any information for those who attended, please feel free to reach out to us, and I'm more than happy to share slides or any information that Carol and Carmen shared with us today. So thank you again for joining us tonight. Have a good night. And then I think the next general meeting is going to be in September. So we're going to be off this summer for the month of July and August, and then we'll see you back in September. Meanwhile, do come to our kickoff and our hiking events, and look out for, if you've not signed up to our mailing list, to sign up, and we'll see you around. Thank you so much. Thanks, Carmen. Thanks, Carol. Have a good night.